Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester United. What a time to get it! Wow, what an incredible cross.
6 weeks ago, Manchester United were being called the worst team in history. The manager said it himself. A 31% win rate, home defeats piling up. Fast forward to today, we're fourth, unbeaten under Michael Carrick. So what's changed? The system, the manager, or mentality? Same season, different team. What's changed? How are we, boys? How's your day been? How was work? And how's everything going?
Good. Going good.
Good.
Still eating this whole
You're not
pack
eating or anything?
Twix pods. It wasn't for me. I've been really eating them all.
Mate, I tell you what, right? I don't know about you boys, but I felt lonely over the weekend with all the FA Cup going on and everything like that. And I didn't like it at all. It's just like, I hope our club's learnt from this. Seriously. Like, it's not supposed to be like this, is it? Like,
it's what everyone says, usually with like 6-7 games to go, when Man United the last 5 years have been sort of in and around 7th and 8th, trying to get into that European position. And there's always an argument from a set of fans saying, I want to miss out on Europe completely so we can focus one game a week. We can focus on the Premier League and have a sort of strong charge for the top 4. Suddenly we have the one game a week. It's horrible. It's horrible. And terrible. You do need, I would honestly rather watch United be bad and lose than not watch us at all. I'd rather disappointment this weekend over just nothing.
I think too, the idea of us being so good at the moment, you think you just want to keep watching us at the moment. Like we couldn't do it.
It's terrible. Like I'm flicking. You're looking for other sports to watch. You just like you're trying to keep yourself entertained because you usually watch the games a couple of times and everything like that. I always watch the women and stuff like that, but it just doesn't feel right. It's so.
But Adam, you don't watch any other football though.
Yeah, I watch rugby league. I watch rugby league all weekend.
No, like you don't watch any other teams play.
Oh no. I'm trying to, but yeah. I'm trying to, but I just find it hard to get into other teams. I really do. I struggle big time. I don't know about you, Tom. Do you find that, or because I struggle with it?
Yeah, look, it's two different sports. Watching football, so if I'm watching Everton versus Aston Villa or a game in Italy or a game in the A-League over watching Manchester United, they're two different sports. When I'm watching Manchester United, that's not football. That's a tribalistic thing. When I'm watching the sport, I sort of view it very differently. So I'll watch it when it's on, but I'm very much just sort of staring blankly at the TV. I do enjoy it, but I'll watch it just for the sake of it's something on. It's not like watching Manchester United. And look, I agree. Look, football is my life, but Manchester United is a step above that. And it's weird because I do love the game, but you're right. When I am watching other games, or whether it be in the Premier League, whether it be in the Champions League or here in Australia, it's just not the same. As I said, I'd rather watch Manchester United in pre-season over a Champions League final not involving United.
Yeah. I like on the weekend, I was watching Sydney FC, and like Jordan and I just taking the piss. Like, and Sydney FC's, I used to be a season pass holder, everything like that. I try and watch it, try and get involved. Even, look, I watch the Premier League. I'll watch other games in the Premier League and stuff like that. I find myself watching Liverpool, find myself watching City, Chelsea, and even the teams down the bottom of the ladder. I find myself watching that. But I can't religiously say I'm there and I'm studying the game or anything like that. I'm either shopping or something like that. I just can't do it. I don't know.
When you're watching the other Premier League games, though, it just naturally gravitates towards United. Okay, if they win, how many points are they behind us? Or how many
exactly, points and that's how it is now. Yeah,
you kind of. I find myself not enjoying the actual football. Then, right? It comes back to the narrative that is Man United.
Yeah. Honestly, lads, if you get yourself a stream or you find yourself some time, have a watch of some Championship. Just. It's just so exciting, and just the football is just, I know it's sort of old school in a way. It's end to end, it's exciting. I find myself sort of at times watching a bit of Championship this year, which is sort of a new thing for me. But even like this weekend, I watched 2 Championship sides play in the FA Cup. I watched Wrexham versus Ipswich on Saturday morning, and just Wrexham just looked like a really, really good pub team, to be honest. Just like it's just, I feel like that type of football at times, actually a lot of times, is missing in the Premier League, especially higher up. It's very tactical. It's very statistical. It's very like boring at times when you're watching teams like Arsenal, like City and stuff. You know, I find if I'm watching a game from a neutral perspective, lower down in the league, teams fighting for survival, or Championship, it's just great.
The Premier League is very much. It feels when I'm watching the Premier League, it's 20 teams doing the exact same thing. It's not like football 15, 20 years ago where you knew how Stoke played, where you knew how West Ham played, you knew how Tottenham played, you knew how Chelsea would set up under Jose Mourinho. It just feels now everyone, and probably a football thing, not just the Premier League, but the football in the Premier League definitely does feel very stale at the moment compared to what it sort of used to be. But sort of bringing not quite Manchester United and the Championship back into it. You mentioned earlier the FA Cup and some of the fixtures around the weekend. Grimsby Town, I think they played Wolves. Anyone see the pitch? That's a bit of football for me, seeing a pitch like that.
Do you know the thing that, talking about the Championship, like, because I watch a lot of Portsmouth play because they've got a few of the Sydney FC Academy players playing over there, Hayden Matthews, Aiden Segasic, and all that. I love watching the Championship because there's no VAR. So it is what the ref says on the field stays. It's one of those. It's like almost watching old school Premier League. It's so end to end. The teams are so open come the 60th minute. No one is locking in and keeping the compressed midfields and stuff. It's just open end to end. They've just got fast wingers and a big striker up top trying to get in the box and throw his body around. I actually really enjoy the Championship. I watch quite a bit of it.
It's funny when
there's a good Aussie player playing at Norwich at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, Toure. He just scored a hat trick.
Yeah, Toure scored a hat trick, mate, on debut. It was unreal.
Yeah. 5 in 2 games now.
That's unreal.
You know what? We just to continue a little bit more on this. Whenever Tony Redmond comes in here into the cave and we watch a game, we always talk about my team's Altrincham, his team's Dorking. So we often talk about them, and then it'll lead into Salford and things like that. And we've got the table up and everything like that, and it's actually really cool when we do talk about these clubs and everything like that. Yeah. So anyway,
Salford gave City a game on the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 2-0.
FA Cup 2-0.
Own goal, and Mark Gay scored in the 85th minute or something. I think it was.
A cup-tied Mark Gahey who got knocked out by Mansfield with Palace in the previous round.
Yeah. How does that make sense?
Just pet, mate. City's agenda. There's lots of chats blowing up around that at the moment and conversations I'm having with friends and things like that. It's just the cup tied rule is just the most old school rule of any cup competition. And the fact that there's some sort of loophole called Pep Guardiola that seems to get his new signings to play for his team, even though they've actually played for another team in a previous round, just baffles me. Absolutely baffles me.
So I don't think you should be able to play in a cup if you've already played for another team at all. Period. Doesn't matter if it's the next round, if it's a final. It doesn't matter. If you
have an actual issue with it, however, I do agree with Elliot. More so, the reason I would have an issue is simply tradition. It just seems a bit of a cup. We have no issue with buying a player in the Premier League and coming to play the rest of the season in the Premier League. So I have no real deep down issue with players playing in the FA Cup for 2 different teams, but it is just, as Elliot said, just a bit of tradition, which I do think
it is.
It is just a bit silly.
And Champions League enforce it
different though to the league. So I understand the league. I just see like in a cup, if you've represented a club and you've been knocked out, or even if they were to advance and you moved clubs, I don't feel like you should be allowed to represent a new club. But like again, like it's to me, it's not that deep. At the end of the day, if Manchester United went and bought someone and they played the semi-final and that, I would be like, yep, keep that. We should definitely be doing that. It
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
bother me.
Roles reversed for sure, but
I've got a comment here from Dino before we get into it. The FA Cup isn't the same these days, unfortunately. There's no magic in the cup. Most Prem teams play second string sides.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, look, I loved the FA Cup in the 90s. I tell you what, I still remember the club I used to play for, and they used to put it on at the club. So the whole team would go and watch it and everything like that. I still distinctively remember like United playing Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, and then it went to replay, and Ian Wright came off the bench. It's probably one of my vivid memories of an FA Cup game. It was absolutely fantastic. So what year was that? 1990. It was unreal. That's when it all started then. So I was fortunate enough as a kid to start experiencing that kind of stuff, back then. So yeah.
Gone are the days of the replay rule as well, Adam.
Yeah. Well, the last replay was Manchester United Liverpool, I think it was. They had a draw.
Yeah.
I think it's magic though. Like you look at Palace winning it last year. I think that's incredible that a club like that could win it. You look at Macclesfield or something that's knocked them out this year. Like that
Mansfield.
to me is I got fucking chocolate in my mouth. That to me is magic in the cup because like Grimsby Town knocking out United, like things like that.
Yeah.
Like
I got a comment here from Red Devil. He said, "What you're saying, no magic in the cup." I remember 8th place team beating a league winner a few years back. So yeah, there's still the magic.
I think even when a big team wins it, like not a big team, like let's say Crystal Palace, which Jordan just said there, like that sort of reminds you a little bit of the magic of the FA Cup. But then I think also you look at a team like Palace, they're buying players for £50 million.
Yeah,
half their
exactly.
teams, if we want to buy some of their players, they're probably worth that 70, 80 million pounds. If we want to buy Adam Wharton, is it really too magical? Crystal Palace winning the cup?
I think the magic results of the FA Cup can still be there. I feel like I think people look at the FA Cup a lot different now, and they don't have the same prestigious look to it. Like I heard Alan Shearer talking about it on a podcast once, saying it was the most prestigious trophy to nearly win in England in football. And now it's considered like that. Everyone used to take the weekend off to go and watch it and stuff. And now it's not even the last game of the season now. It used to be the last game after the season finished.
So many issues to address with the FA Cup, but the main one, which is a simple fix and it just won't happen financially, the semi-finals at Wembley, it changes everything. Like for me, in regards to sort of that progression to the final, but you get rewarded. 4 teams get it rewarded in the semi-final, and I just think that is look at some of Manchester United's great moments. Come in FA Cup semi-finals at Villa Park. Or Arsenal had some really great moments when the semi-final was at Old Trafford.
Do you think that makes Wembley not feel as prestigious to get to though, Tom? Yeah.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah, definitely.
I agree with that.
Even though like the old Wembley, I don't know if Tom would remember. Elliot, you're still young, and same with Jordan. Like,
I remember, mate. I've been to the old Wembley.
Yeah, mate, it was absolutely beautiful, the old Wembley. It was so good. This is turning into an FA Cup pod. Well, I could talk FA Cup all day. But you used to love them, the way they walked out. They had the band playing, everything like that.
The media could do a hell of a... and obviously the media do what suits them in regards to sort of gets their views, gets their viewership, of course. You think that FA Cup final day... I understand the demand on players now, and they're highly paid, and there's different demands than there was sort of in the 80s and early 90s. But surely they could do something like that players' breakfast or film the players getting on the bus from the hotel, go into the game sort of thing. Like, the players are highly paid enough. They come down at 9 o'clock in the morning and have breakfast against each other. Sort of, that should be something there. And I just think, that FA Cup day, the FA Cup final day, it's match day 36 or something in the Premier League. Like there is nothing special about it. I think even one year there was Premier League games on the day of the FA Cup final.
That's crazy, isn't it? Like,
and I just I think that shows where the authorities sort of do have it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the serious part of this pod. We're talking Ruben Amorim. We're talking Michael Carrick. We're talking about where United, not so much where United finished last year because they finished 15th, and at the beginning of this season, we were all expecting United to do a lot better. We all saw the dramas over the past year or so, but I want to just go back to it. And I know we've spoken about it on this pod a lot, but sometimes it's good just to refresh our memory and getting a few of the people in the chat, their thoughts on it. So the first question I want to put to you is, was Amarin's biggest mistake tactical stubbornness or man management? Where do you boys see that?
100% tactical stubbornness. Man management there, but you can't disregard what Amarin did from a man management perspective and clearing the deadwood. I do believe that if Amarin didn't clear the deadwood, I guess, get that group in a cohesive stage, Carrick isn't as successful in his first 5 games. I truly believe that. I might be in the minority, but yeah, I think Ruben Amarin's time was as bad as people make it out to be. He did the groundwork and left the club in a better state than it was when he went to it. I just think that he was tactically stubborn, obviously had a couple of words and said the wrong things in press conferences, which shook up some wrong conversations. But besides that, the club was in a better state to be taken over.
When a manager loses a job, sorry, Jordan, but when a manager loses a job, can we name one who's been sacked who we said wasn't tactically stubborn? Like every manager almost sort of dies on that sword. Like in terms of Louis van Gaal, he had his own way. Jose Mourinho had his own way. Remember Eric Ten Hag and sort of the 4-2-4, whatever formation, the big hole in midfield. Everyone can play that. He only played that. And I just think when a manager loses their job, there are so many issues, especially around Manchester United, why they lose their job. We all know the many reasons, but perception is reality, and every single Ruben Amorim discussion we have is tactical, is 3-4-3, or however you want to sort of look at it. So whether that was the case or not the case, that is what has been sort of glued to him and is what sort of did stick from his time at Manchester United. But I do think when our next manager gets the sack, which history tells us is going to be quite soon, we're going to say, yeah, he didn't change his system. He should have changed it a little bit more. And I think that's just every single manager. Maybe Solskjaer tinkered a little bit, and we don't really sort of cling that to Solskjaer. But yeah, look, I do agree. Tactically, there was a stubbornness to it. In regards to man management, I agree with Elliot in regards to there's many good things that did happen, which we will forget because we only do remember the bad things when a manager does get the sack. But I do think there was off-field issues Ruben Amorim dealt with quite well, harshly, but well, it needed to be done. But then there was also bad off-field issues in regards to, I back the manager, but his, I wouldn't say treatment of Kobbie Mainoo, but his inability to get Kobbie Mainoo in the team. I just thought, geez, that's a tough one in regards to you put anyone on the bench. I think Kobbie Mainoo is our best player. I think there's room somewhere in whatever system to get those 2 feet on the pitch. So, yeah, overall, I do think it was the tactical stubbornness, which ultimately, from Amorim's point of view, there are many reasons as to why the club has failed holistically. But yeah, Amorim 3-4-3 will stick with him.
I think you're 100% right, Tom. I think Kobbie Mainoo's performances post Amorim, the more and more games he plays, the more and more of an idiot he's making Amorim look like. Really.
I agree with that to an extent, right? So it's Amorim's did fantastic, I thought, with the players and bringing everyone back together and making players like Luke Shaw be fit all the time and things like that. Amorim's biggest problem that I think kind of killed him was he couldn't adapt to a football team mid-match. So if a team sat in against us, we didn't know how to adapt to push another person into the midfield to create an overload. Everything kind of stayed the same based on a counter-attack, get the ball wide quick and run at them. That's all. That's what our whole game was. It's just quick transitional football. When a team sat back, he was. I wouldn't say he's out of his depth because he's probably going to be a world-class manager. He's at that level, but you go and put a third man in midfield and you create an overload. Creates a 2v1 in certain situations where you can get the ball and you can manipulate space in front of you. With Kobe Mainu, who's he coming in for in that two-man midfield? Like, honestly.
Have we ever had a manager in the last post-Fergie, this whole discussion we've been having, who's been able to deal with low blocks?
No.
So, look, I
Yeah.
agree with that in regards to Ruben Amorim and sort of his adaptation throughout a match. But I'm thinking, well, the people before him couldn't do it.
Where I was about to go with my next point was you hired a manager who played a 3-4-3 with a 2 in midfield at all times, 2 8s. We did not have anywhere near the personnel to suit that system. Yes, he should have changed the system, and I was very vocal about that. But that's the only thing that Carrick's kind of changed. Some of the players are different. He's got 2 centre-backs back fit, which I think make a massive difference. But he switched it to a 4-3-3 variation. That's it. And he's played players in their natural position. Kobe Mainu as an 8 is perfect, but defensively off the ball, he lacks quite a lot. He does. And that's where Casemiro is very good. But he's not going to play Bruno Fernandes, who's on 300k a week, club captain. Like, do you know what I mean? Kobe doesn't fit, which is crazy.
On Kobe Mainu as well. You've got, and looking at Nolan as more vocal in regards to, as I said, I think he's our best player. I wanted to see Kobe Mainu the whole time. I couldn't get my head around Ruben Amorim not playing him. My defense of Ruben Amorim in not playing him was you have to think of these people as well, like it or not. They're people. They have emotions and they have feelings towards others and certain relationships. Ruben Amorim, look, he could argue that the Europa League final against Tottenham, but really in regards to this season, he lost his job at Grimsby. That's where you knew, okay, after that, okay, Ruben Amorim's gone at some stage. We didn't know when, but there was no recovering from Grimsby. Colby Mainu that day was woeful. A bit like woeful. That hurt Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim started going, I gave you a chance and you did that. And I think that sort of maybe wrongly so, did stick with Ruben Amorim and say, look, I gave you this chance, Colby, and you let me down big time. And obviously not just Colby Mainu, other players as well. But I do think that is where, from a personal point of view, I could see where Amorim maybe had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder in regards to Mainu.
But in terms of Kobe, I think I actually really love him as a footballer. I think his decision making and his IQ on the ball is way beyond his age. I think he plays with the maturity out there of a 35-year-old with his decision making, but he lacks the mobility to get across the field and throw his body in there to tackles and things like that. Whereas a Ruben Amorim system needs that player. Dino made a comment there about Ruben beating City in a Champions League. Why did he beat City? Gyökeres scored a hat-trick. It was 2 penalties on the counter-attack, and they got a counter-attack goal where Gyökeres ran through 1-on-1 because City pressed high. That's where that system is in full force because you already have so many players high up the field in transition. Manchester United, you don't really have that ability because when teams come to Old Trafford, they tend to sit in. Do you think against West Ham in that second half when they sat in, Ruben Amorim would have got a point out of that game?
Even from a small sample size in regards to Carrick, okay, you win at Arsenal, you beat Tottenham, you beat Manchester City, struggled against Fulham, struggled against West Ham. No,
it's a lot of blocks, man. It's crazy.
Sat in, but definitely West Ham did. And I just think that goes in, yes, Ruben Amorim 100% deserves criticism for that in-game management and sort of failing to adapt. But I do look at it and think on a small sample size, Michael Carrick's failing at the same thing. Eric Ten Hag failed. I have an unfortunate feeling that the next guy is going to fail at that. And I don't know what the answer, or ultimately the answer is better players. The manager does have a say in improving the players.
I still believe Ruben Amorim's hands were tied behind his back. I really do. I believe the hierarchy didn't want him to change the system also. I reckon it's a mixture of both because you can't be that naive to not change the system from game to game. They hired him for that season, for that system, did they not?
I think you're right in a way. I think you're right in a way. The management team above understood what they were getting. It was made very clear before we brought this manager in, and I think I go back to the game where, and I guess to add to that, they need to be accountable for that, right? And I think it's a massive learning curve for those guys, because you've got to understand the identity of our club and the identity of our club and what's in the genetics of Old Trafford, from Fergie to Busby. It's a counter-attacking football. That's our identity as a club, and I don't think that's going to change. They've brought in a manager who's got a different system. Was never going to work, really. It was never going to work, but they've invested, so they wanted it to work. Now, the biggest flaw for Amrin and what happened was when we played Newcastle, and it was very clear on the field that we changed that system, it was successful. And we won that game, I'm pretty sure. And I remember us the pod after that game. We were, he's gone 4-5-2, 4-5-1 or 4-2-3-1. This is great. And then following game, was it Everton at home? Maybe we lost 1-0, and we went back to in that system. We went back to the 3-5-2 or whatever it was, because he changed the system in that moment. That's where it all went wrong, where it all came tumbling down for him. And I just think, although it was from then on in, even though we were winning the odd game here and there, it was never going to get any better than where it was. And I think that's there were
certain results, right, where you look at, was it Wolves and I believe Burnley, where we sat with 3v1 at the back and no one pushed into the midfield to create an extra man to get on the ball and get forward. Like, we sat 3 deep on halfway and didn't press one of them to get forward and actually become a 2v1 at the back. We actually kept it as a 3v1. It was almost like a thing of don't let them score versus push on. Like, Michael Carrick's, the thing that he's done is he's just played players in their fucking position. That is why they're shining. Like, Bruno Fernandes as a 10 is probably one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. Stat-wise, he seems to be number one in absolutely everything.
I think that's the thing in regards to, as we always say, football is a very simple game, but get it management. You're not telling Bruno Fernandes how to pass the ball. You're not telling Luke Shaw how to cross the ball. You're not telling Harry Maguire, okay, this is how I want you to head the ball. These players can perform. It's getting the management at this level is getting the best out of them. They don't really train. Like, how often can Man United really have a training session? Or maybe this week, because there's only one game a week, but you know what I mean? It's pretty much recover, travel, play, recover, travel, play. But you do look at that, and players are, we're just getting the best out of them. But I do think we as fans hold some responsibility as well in regards to, here we are discussing the last 10 minutes, 3-4-3 or 4-3-3. There's so many times, like Ruben Amorim, where we say he stuck to it, 3 at the back. Europa League final. If we didn't play 3 at the back, we played 4 at the back in the Europa League final. We played Patrick Dorgu left wing. And I think it was a Majro Delo, I forget who played right back. It was pretty much a 4 at the back. But it was just discussed as a 3 at the back. And I just think now we're saying, I agree when we played that, I think it was Everton and West Ham, those 2 draws, where it was 3 defenders against 1 striker. And I think, how can this happen? And I agree. I was screaming at the TV, how can this happen? Push someone forward. But go back now, if we're playing 4 at the back and Manchester United need a goal in the last 10 minutes, all of us sitting here as subs will take 1 defender or play 3 at the back and push more men forward. But here we are, we're saying it's very defensive by having 3 at the back. And I just think ultimately we're right and we're wrong. But it comes down to what Jordan said, the players just in their natural position or more natural position. I just think we can discuss those tactics till the cows come home. But I really don't think nothing matters at the end of the day. The players on the pitch are the only ones who can sort of really impact things. But I do think we have overranked the importance of a system and formation. I just think the players now are playing better, and it's Michael Carrick being able to get the best out of those players individually.
Do you think, too, it's actually quite, I wouldn't say unfair on Amorim, but he got sacked in a period where he didn't have half the team were out to injury. He had Aiden Heaven and Lenny Yoro.
The centre-back issue was tough for him.
That's what I mean. Then he didn't have Brian and Buemo, Ahmad and Mazraoui all the way at AFCON. And
but in saying that, though, Jordan, he
didn't have any subs, though, to bring on to impact the game. Does that make sense?
That's right. But not only that, like, if you look at his win rate and everything like that, like 25 wins, 15 draws and 23 losses in his tenure.
It's not good.
It's just not good enough. Like, regardless, we still had DeLitt, Maguire in those games. So it was just like,
it was never going to get better. Like, I think
Yeah.
we got as good as we got from him. I don't think, personnel or not, he was still getting an odd game and an odd result here and there. Yes, he did have to play, but I think overall, the powers that be just saw that it wasn't going to get any better because the results were the same when we had more personnel sort of go running into December.
Do you feel like we could have beat City and Arsenal with Amorim in charge?
No.
Exactly.
Well, we did. Look, I agree, but you look back at the history and says we did. We beat him in the FA Cup. We beat him
Yeah.
at the Etihad under Ruben Amorim.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
think-
That is very true.
it's a Manchester United thing. Like, as I said, I think Michael Carrick, well, we don't like to think of it now because we're all in a feel-good sort of mood and sort of the energy is good. Looks like on a small sample size, we're going to sort of face the same problems. And are we going to point that at the players? Are we going to point that at the board? Or are we going to look for a change of manager as a little bit of hope in sort of restoring things? And we know what's going to happen. We're going to be calling for a new manager. And I just think whether that be Michael Carrick or someone else, look, I agree with what everyone has said tonight. But I also think that, and I'm guilty of it as well, here I am discussing it, that football is a simple game.
I'm going to get to some of these comments. We're getting a lot of comments we're not only getting comments here, but we're getting comments on TikTok as well. So I just want to give a shout out to Warp Drive. He's one of the guys, collector guys in there. He's throwing over some prizes and stuff on TikTok. You got to understand the system there. Thanks to Warp Drive. Just give him a shout out. I've got some comments here from Red Devil. He goes, Amorim didn't clear the deadwood. Rashford, Hoyland can still return. Sancho's contract has ended and Garnacho left. That's the only thing that has happened. And Anthony too.
That's right. That's straight up. That's right. So Hoyland's deal
That's
is
wrong,
if
mate.
Napoli
Hoyland's
get
gone.
top 4, they have to sign him. Napoli are currently winning the league. Like
I think
that's
contractual
a guarantee there that they're going to do that.
I think contractual things around those deals as well, players come in or go in or on loan or options, everything. It's not Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim doesn't want them on Manchester United's football pitch. Okay, what's the board going to do in regards to sort of transferring their actual contract? So,
Rashford's a very hard one to get rid of too. Rashford is a very difficult player to get rid of because of those wages.
He's the only player that I can see coming back, maybe. But he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. I guess it all comes down to if Barcelona can afford him from a wage perspective.
I think you're going to find with Rashford too, United's just going to have to bite the bullet. Because what's the point of having a player there, as much as I love Rashford, what's the point of having a player there that doesn't want to come back? B, I don't think he'll be just sitting on the bench because we did it with Sancho and we've done it with a couple of other players. We're definitely just going to have to sell him. I bet you we end up selling him. I've even got a graph here on some of our. We've done it with Anthony. We lost big money on him. Most of the players that I'll just quickly bring up this like graph that I got. I knew we'd get to this point. Oh, it's terrible, man. Like I've got Anthony here. We paid 82 million for him. We sold him for 21. You look at Hoyland. He's on 60. He's 67.3. At the moment, he's going to be 38 mil. We won't even worry about Lukaku, Martial, but you come
I think
to
the main difference, which we obviously all do know, Marcus Rashford, he doesn't have that.
No, he doesn't have that. That's right.
So
that's right.
Ultimately, if we can sell Marcus Rashford,
in saying that, Tom, we could have probably made a lot of money out of him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Scott McTominay's another one. Like
Pogba's the worst, 89 million, and goes out on a free. Like, it's crazy to even think about what we could have done with Rashford or everything like that. So I reckon it's going to become a case where we'll have to bite the bullet with Rashford just to see him go. So
I'm really 50-50 on it. I'm really 50-50 on it at the moment.
Yeah.
I guess
how you could not give, like, the thing I have with Rashford is I feel like he doesn't give 100% when he's out there. when he was at Manchester United. I get he doesn't enjoy it, but I just think you're paid that much money. It's your job. You're playing for the club that you come through the academy for. Man, you should be giving it 200% out there. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let me keep going with these couple of these comments as they're flying in. This one, I think Jordan and I had a little bit of a giggle before while Elliot was talking. It always seems to be when Elliot's talking. Lucky Sesko is on fire, saving Carrick's life. Vavel, where are we? Christopher Vavel needs. Come on, Dino. If you're going to put stuff up, some praise for his summer transfers. Got rid of boys and brought Prem League men into our team, which is correct.
Do you think he had all the? Do you think Amaran had much say in those, especially the Embuemo and Cunha signings?
Mejia for chance. Look,
They seem to suit his system.
I think when a player plays well, we always think it was the manager. When a player plays bad, we always think that the board brought him in for the manager.
That's right.
You never know. You never know.
It'd be cool to know that, though. It'd be cool for someone to come out and tell you who's actually
both Embuemo and Cunha were looked at by other Premier League clubs. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
They were a profile of player that we would have been interested in before Amaran.
Ange Postecoglou came on the podcast the other day with Gary Neville and that
overlap. Yeah.
Said that he wanted to sign him at Tottenham.
Embuemo, Semenyo, he was looking at as well.
Yeah, but I hate to say it, but he went and said, "Oh, we want to sign this guy, this guy, and this guy." I was like, Mark Gay, Semenyo, Brian Embuemo, and I was like, they're the players that have just lifted off this season, last season. Like, are you sure that's who you're going for? Do you know what I mean? It seemed like the players that he was naming were like players that every club now would be like, "Oh, I'd take them."
Yeah,
I think the top 15, 20 clubs in the world are all shopping from the same store. I think they've all got the same data. Yeah. They've all got the same sort of databases, and sort of all the football directors will be talking to each other. Okay, if you get this guy, we'll look at this direction. That'll sort of help you in the pursuit of this guy. No, we're not interested. So fair enough, go for him. This is the information we have on him. And they'll sort of scratch their back in another way. So players like that, like I agree with, or you like to agree with what Ange said there, but yeah, he's not really sort of breaking any sort of groundbreaking news that they're in for good players like Zuma. I'm sure a lot of good teams are in for good players.
Well, he's back on for a full episode this week, isn't he? So we'll have to watch it again, because that was an impromptu interview, wasn't it? Straight after the Thomas Frank sack. So,
well, this one will just be about Sean Dyche, then, you think?
Yeah, maybe. It'd be good if he jumps on and talks a bit about his A-League and his Socceroos stuff as well. I think that could get
time at Celtic.
I think though, like getting back onto the coaching, Ange is similar. Like he was stubborn not to change his system and stuff like that. Do you boys believe to change to, people claim Tottenham's a big club, United's a bigger club and stuff like that. You got to earn your right, don't you, to be stubborn and like stick to one system. You got to be flexible all the time, don't you? Surely.
Well, look at it. Look at the most successful manager in the last decade in the Premier League, Pep Guardiola. He's not been stubborn. He was maybe the first couple of years, but he's adapted and changed his style of play with the personnel that he's got. And I do believe that that's why he's had the success he's had. I do think that that's why Arsenal have stumbled, and hopefully will stumble again this year as well, because Arteta's been so stubborn in his approach in the past. So I think the best managers are the ones that can adapt. Fergie's system's adapted.
They're allowed to adapt, though. Look, I agree 100%, but they're afforded the opportunity to do so because they have credit in the bank. Now, you could argue Arteta doesn't have too much credit, but he seems to have that credit with the Arsenal board. Let's say Ruben Amorim or Eric Ten Hag. Okay, let's say there's I need to change. I want to change this. But the next 6 weeks when I change it, because it's going to be such a drastic change, it's going to be a bit rocky. The Manchester United manager can't have a bad 6 week period, so they don't change it. And I just think that is where you go back and look at. You think things are bad now for Man United. Go back and remember what Arsenal were like during COVID. they were bad every week. Like they're like, man, they're losing 3-0 at home every single week. But Arteta was allowed to get rid of this player. He was allowed to sort of adapt things. So I do agree 100%. But I do think those managers at the top and clubs at the top, they're just afforded that patience. Where Manchester United we've got history of it now. Unfortunately, there is just no patience there. And you could argue rightly so. It is a cutthroat business. We always need better, but are we really going to get better without patience?
I think, though, going back to what Adam said about managers being stubborn and stuff, the best managers know how to beat the opposition's setup. Does that make sense? So they're not going to change the way they play, but they'll adapt it to the opposition to target certain areas and things like that. Like, Ange's biggest problem was he played such a high line, and he was saved so much by that Mickey van der Ven's pace. The moment that hamstring went on him, he had no one to cover the pace when they pushed so high up the field. And then you look at Pep. Pep's changed his style over probably every 3 to 4 years. He has a different kind of way of playing. But he's always, when he plays against certain teams, he changes where players sit in pockets and that. The players don't actually change the way they play, but where they utilize space and things like that, when they get the ball into different pockets, it's a lot more. So I think the best managers in the world actually change based on who they're playing, not so much the system and the style, but just the way they use it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you talk the way you talking there, Jordan. I do believe that that's why England went for Tuchel, right? Because of that adaptability that he's got as a manager is suitable for an international tournament. And I think you're spot on. The best managers adapt to who's in front of them. A little bit. There's got to be you've got one system, but there's 10 variations to that system, right? And I do think Pep's 100%, the best manager over the last decade. I think Thomas Tuchel's had decent success as well, and I think that's why I've got a funny feeling about England in this World Cup. I don't know why, but I just think having that type of manager will work for them versus sort of, I guess, another very rigid style manager in Gareth Southgate. If you use that as another example too. So,
well, there's certain managers that are they're elite winners. Like, they just know how to win football games. Whether it's they have to tweak something in the game, they have to bring out a substitute, they might have
There's no
push their
science
team.
behind it, but anyone answer this. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but if you could put a percentage on it, how important is a manager in regards to players and manager? Is it 80% players, 20% manager? Is it 50-50? Is it 80% manager, 20% players? Like, I honestly think, and this is me just as a player, I always say it, I never came off, not once in my career, came off the pitch. Right? Some managers I didn't really get on with, or one or two things I would change. I never came off the pitch after a loss and said, if we had a different manager, we would have won that. We didn't play enough the players. And I just think, what percentage would you put? Like, yes, at the top level, of course, there'll be tactical things even we're not aware of, which we're not seeing, which have drastic impacts on the match, which we wouldn't even see. And there are the obvious ones we do see. But ultimately, if you could put a number on it, a figure, how important is a manager? I honestly do believe we discuss it too much. I do think it is the players.
I think, Tom, in the Premier League or even NPL or right across that rep scene of football, I think because it's spoken about so much these days, and I know just through my kids playing very high level football, I do sit there and I'm really judgmental when it comes to managers and stuff like that, because I've coached and managed and done all that myself. And I feel I do know a lot about football when it comes to tactics and everything like that. I see a lot of managers these days, and Michael Carrick, really, he hasn't really done much, but he's coming to United now as a manager and at the biggest club in the world. I think in this situation with Michael Carrick, I think more it's the mentality of the players. I really do believe that, and he's got a very good background staff. But when it comes to like Ruben Amorim, I see a lot of managers in younger rep sides and everything like that. They overthink games. They overthink tactically. They try and bring instead of just watching the game for what it is, they try and make up stuff on the run. Australia's the worst for it. They believe if you get a C license or a B license or an A license, that you're the best manager that there is because they can read a book on tactics. There's no better managers in the world that can actually read the game without having to read a tactic book. And I'm a firm believer of that. And you see it day in, day out, man. I look at Ruben Amorim. I look at sometimes with Ruben Amorim when he was making his subs, or even like, I know you can't predict what happens at the end of a game and stuff like that, but there was times where he made 4 subs at a time and things like that. Or you saw what's his name do it the other day for Arsenal. Like, just they overthink games instead of taking chances, and that's what was good about Fergie. He was happy to take a chance through games, and I understand he was winning a lot. You've got to have risk in sport. Perfect example at the moment is the Winter Olympics. For God's sakes, man, Australia's winning gold. It's unless these guys, these kids, take risks going down a mountain and stuff like that, you have no chance. If you fail, you fail. But if you take risk in games, there's more reward than not taking risk.
I do think you're right. Yeah, I do think you're right. I also think that the only vibe that I get from Carrick that's different from a positive point of view to Amorim is he seems to be a better man manager from, I guess, sort of how he's talking to players on the training field and how he's delivering his messages to the players as individuals, but also collectively. I did not see that vibe from Amorim whatsoever, and I think that's why Fergie was so successful. And you've heard it time and time again from legends of the game or legends of the club. It's like, mate, you're not going to be playing for the next 2 weeks because I want you preparing for this game in 3 weeks' time. And it's just that Carrick seems to have an element of that type of man management style to him, which I do believe is helping the players thrive. But I also agree in what Tom's said as well. We talk about the manager too much, and I think, the players get away with so much.
I think there's obviously what we talk about now these days, a new generation of players, and players aren't the same as what they were. Managers are the same now in regards to the way they're taught to manage or taught to coach. It's very much out of a textbook. At work the other day, I was forced to have sort of the school brought in Sydney FC academy coaches in to sort of coach one or two of the casual coaches we have. And I do just this with like year 3 and year 4 kids in terms of just little 1v1s, little dribbling in and out of cone sort of thing. So, okay, girls, we're going to do this little dribbling game here. And the Sydney FC coach stepped in, wanting to be the big man. I said, okay, fair enough. Okay, if you want to come and do that. We don't call this dribbling now. We call this progressive carries. I'm thinking, you don't need to say that. Like, but it was a big thing of sort of putting his point across. So managers come in now and players are different, but managers behave different, or coaches, managers, however you want to look at it, behave differently now. And I just think when they get to that level, they're so ingrained in what got them there in terms of this new way. And that's now instilled on players. So there is no longer a Sir Alex Ferguson. There's no Jose Mourinho. There's no Brian Clough. Now they are managers like let's say Ruben Amorim, who's only our age, younger than some of us. And I just think we look at a different generation of players, but now we've got a very different generation of manager.
That baffles me, Tom. Like, what are you going to do when you're on the sideline coaching the team when you're saying, dribble, progressively carry? It's like,
mate, don't even start me on coaches and stuff like that because it's mind-blowing. Elliot, your kids are young. Do yourself a favour. Don't get them into rep football. Don't do it to yourself. Right? I'm going to just put up a couple of comments here. Tino's got one here. I think we need to stop comparing managers to Fergie and Pep. It's the same judging every striker in Haaland. Same thing.
On
This
Haaland, Matt.
on Haaland, yeah.
Haaland
This
shit.
one, this is another one. 80% of any success comes from the way you manage people. 100%, man. I totally agree.
I agree with that. That's what I was about to make a comment before. When Tom was talking about how much of a percentage the manager matters. I think the manager's connection with the players is the most important thing, because I feel like that gives that extra 10%. They want to believe in what he's doing. They want to play for him. And I think that's something that you see it all the time when a manager loses the dressing room. And it's not so much the tactical side of things.
I know Dean has just said that, which I agree, so try not to compare managers to Fergie, but just go back and look at Fergie. Could you imagine, just trying to envisage the way we played football, think of the goals, think of the way we viewed that football. Can you imagine much tactical discussion in the change room? Like, well, what do you think Fergie's telling the players? I don't think he's telling them much. Like, he's not. On the training ground in regards to that motivation and sort of managing personalities, that's what it is. As I said, at this top level, you don't need to tell the players too much. Sometimes too much information can get a little bit tricky. So, yeah, no, look, I completely agree. And in terms of that comment there, 80% of success comes from the way you manage people. And at this level, and here comes the debate we've been having the past 6 weeks, head coach or manager. Are they the same jobs? Are they different jobs? Who the hell knows? But what we view as a Premier League or a Manchester United manager, a huge part is just that managing egos, managing people, managing groups, and hoping they go out on the pitch and execute.
I know for a fact, like I know, well, you know, Emily husband and you know, Em. So she got her FA badge over in England, right? So if anyone doesn't know who she's the assistant for the Matildas now. She's come through the ranks, everything like that. She coached my kids and stuff like that. But I had a really good conversation with her about the comparisons between your FA license from over in England to your C license and B and A license here in Australia. And then whatever it is, you go, whatever is it, AA or whatever it is, to go and get coach for your country. So Em went right around the world to coach and everything like that. And then she came to Australia and she's got her FA license. She came to Australia and they wanted her to get her C license to start coaching over here. It's friggin' ridiculous, man. Right?
That's just Australia with any profession. That's with Australia with any profession.
Yeah. But not only that, over in England, when you do your FA license, the first thing they teach you is about communication. The first thing they teach you about is communication. But not here in Australia. The first thing they teach you about is basically how to pass a ball or how to put a training drill together. It's absolute mental. You would think coaching licenses would be pretty much standard right around the world. But that's just...
She has a great, just on that, just a memory popped up. I think, I'm not sure why it was popped up discussing with a mate at work the other day, but I was coaching a game once with them, and we both sort of, I was the coach of the team, but she was at a school, and she was sort of supervising with me, and we were both sitting on the sideline. It was a knockout game, and we were playing a team that was far better than us, and with about 20 minutes to go, I think we were 3 or 4-0 down, and the game felt over, and the team was just a little bit stronger than us. There was not much more you could do, but thinking, okay, 3-4-0, is there a way we could snatch a goal and get something back into the game, or God, let's make sure it doesn't end up 7 or 8-0, which is definitely how it felt. And I was playing a 4-3-3, and my 2 best players were 2 wingers, my left winger and right winger. And she said, put the wingers back at fullback. And I was like, what are you talking about? No, I'm not doing that. I need goals. So no, I think we'll create is that we'll get a little bit more ball sort of in and around halfway, and we'll get into the final third a little bit more. And I thought, we've got nothing if I can lose. We're 4-0 down. Said, okay, so I'll put these 2 really attacking plays back at left and right back. And it changed the game like that. And it was a brilliant tactical side, which I'd never really considered. But after that, I really do look. I'm not sort of advocating for Brian and Blumo to come back and play right back now when we need a goal. But it was a really good way of sort of, just her in-game management and sort of seeing the pitch, which is why I definitely didn't see it at that time. So, it's great to see her doing well with the Matildas.
I've been in a situation, Tom, where I retired from playing football and stuff like that, and I went and watched my team made the grand final again the following season. And it's the same thing. Like the coach, I mean, he wasn't that knowledgeable, but he was okay. Anyway, he puts our winger who always rips players down the right-hand side, and he decided to put him in at centre forward. They're down 2-0. They got 2 players on the fastest player on the pitch, and I said to him, just move him back out to the wing, let our centre halves come through, and it'll open the game up a lot more. Sure enough, end up winning the grand final 4-2. Like, it's so simple when you try and overthink games. It's just, it never works out. And I see it day in, day out, all the time in any league of football. Just coaches overthinking things. Anyway, and I just thought Ruben Amorim did that a lot.
I think we've got our 2 next managers here, boys. Welcome, Adam and Tom.
I'll be hoping for sacks so I get a payout.
Go back to what Jordan said before around how important that man management part is. I think echoes sort of what I said around sort of, I do believe that's the difference from Carrick to Amorim. And I think that man management is what gets us that extra goal in the 90th minute with Sesko in the last couple of games. Mm-hmm. Or if you go back to Fergie and how he just was able to get it done between the 80th and the 90th minute, time and time again. It's just that man management and that mentality as a player wanting to play for your manager because of that man management gives just that extra bit of
that element of risk too, Elliot. But Fergie's a massive risk taker, huge, and in all forms of life. Sir Alex Ferguson's a massive risk taker.
He's a punter.
And that's it. And he's come out with a statement basically saying, if you want, what's the difference between being 1-0 down or 5-0 down? To fix it up, you've got to have a go. And that's what I want out of my manager at Manchester United. And as much as Sesko's been getting us last-minute winners and stuff like that, we did have that out of Harry Maguire a few times with Ruben Amorim and stuff like that. But you know what? I want to see that week in, week out. And I want to see mentality of players being switched on all the time, not the same dribble all the time. And you know, this isn't.
Yeah, I don't think, and I don't. I mean, sort of agree to disagree, but those Harry Maguire, last-minute goals under Amorim leading into the Europa League final, that wasn't Amorim's tactical or the man management. That's just the identity of our football club, and just finding a way to win in games where we're written off because our form is shit going into the game. At the end of the day, our genetic DNA as a club is winning trophies. And I still feel that we find a way to win trophies even when we're not playing well. You look at how many cup finals we've had in the last 5 years versus Arsenal. More. How many more trophies have we won over Arsenal in the last 5 years? More. We just still fight. We still have that identity in our football club that's just so strong that we find a way to win when we probably shouldn't be. And that's why I love our club.
That's what it is being a big club, though. Got to win trophies. One thing that I always find crazy about Tottenham, and I know they were big in the 80s and stuff, but
yeah, sort of.
They've won one trophy or 2 trophies in the last 26 years, a League Cup and a Europa League, and they call themselves part of a big 6. I guess there's a whole other side of it, which is the revenue, the stadium, and all that stuff that makes you a big club. But fuck to me, you got to be able to win trophies.
They're in big trouble. I think they're in big trouble, Tottenham. I've got no idea of this bloke that they've just appointed.
He's from the Italian league. He's they've got the players that'll keep him up. Doesn't matter who's in charge there. The fucking team that they've got, Van de Ven and Romero at the back together is, I reckon it's probably the 3rd best centre back partnership in the league when they're both fit and playing well and confident. But Romero just got sent off, and Van de Ven's fucking never fit.
What to finish up, we're nearly gone an hour now. We haven't really spoken much about Carrick, and we've compared them both. But what is it you are enjoying about Carrick? What's the main thing you are enjoying?
Bruno playing as a 10. A natural central 10 with freedom. He's got no instructions out there, Bruno. He's been told, you get in that pocket, you find space, and you do what you feel. And that is when he's at his best. I always feel when he gets on the ball at the moment that we're going to have a chance of scoring a goal. Every time he picks the ball up. Because his ability to see things and isolate little areas where it might just be he drops out wide onto the right channel and he'll just draw someone in. And then Cobby just slides in as a secondary 10. It's just little attention to detail things he does where he doesn't even have to touch the ball, but he's just so aware.
That's definitely the field players look a little bit more comfortable where they are simply on the pitch, whether that be Bruno Fernandes a little bit more central and sort of with the goal in his side, or Kobbie Mainoo in and around the ball with a little bit of protection next to him in Casemiro and that back four. But I also look at it just from a superficial point of view, which makes no difference. But to Manchester United fans, we're all guilty of this, and we fall victim to it. I liked Ruben Amorim and I liked Erik ten Hag. Michael Carrick looks like a Manchester United, just the way he dresses. Ruben Amorim and Erik ten Hag never wore socks. Their long pants were they're always short, and they weren't wearing the Manchester United blazers sort of thing, and that's nothing. Okay, players need to go out and pass the ball to the right coloured shirt, or the manager needs to make the right substitutions. But I do think, or I want, as a Manchester United fan, to look to the manager and see a little bit of. And I don't. Erik ten Hag and Ruben Amorim, I don't think were disrespectful towards the club in terms of the way they dress. I definitely not accusing them of that. But I just like what I see from Michael Carrick on the sideline compared to those two.
You're swagger.
Yeah, and the last person I reckon that had that look about him is I thought Van Nistelrooy on the side was like one of those where you look at him and you go, oh, that's a manager. Do you know what I mean? It just gives you that. I know exactly what you're saying, that impression, and it's like an aura around them when they walk out. You go, yep, the manager's here.
Manchester United have lost that aura though, so it is important. Okay, and that Michael Carrick wearing a nice suit or something like that is not going to get Manchester United back to where they want to be. But we've lost all those 1%ers over the years, especially around Old Trafford. Okay, it used to be the games were won in the tunnel. Obviously, that's far from the case now. So if we can claw back those 1%ers here or there, I do think they will add up. Now, that's not to say start dressing better and the players come in suits every week, Manchester's not going to win. But I do think it helps.
I couldn't agree more, Tom.
You're right.
I couldn't agree more. We talk about this a lot. I always talk about these 1%ers that United haven't got anymore. And I just think like the other day, Harry Maguire threw the player into the fence, or just gave him that little push, or Martinez coming back in, niggling players and stuff like that. We lost that in this period now with Martinez back, Harry Maguire back. We need that grubbiness back in our team.
Well, it comes back.
It's a big part of our DNA that people don't realise.
We were very easy to play against without that, though. Like, a lot of teams have come out and said that to play against Manchester United is probably one of the easier teams to play against because we didn't have that side to us. When I played, I wasn't the cleanest player on the field. I like to do things to win games. That was my most important thing. But I think you need to have, it's like a little bit of just cunt in you to win a football match. You need to be able to hold the shirt, kick the ankles if you got to do it, throw them around, let them know you're there. Like, it's just little things that take the opposition's player's mind off actually the game itself. It gives them another thing to think about when he's about to receive the ball on the half turn. Get in there. Doesn't matter if you give the foul away on halfway. Just let him know. So next time he takes that touch with his left foot and goes to spin, he's already thinking, here it comes. Or where is it?
Dino made a great point before, like when we was talking about it, and Bumo and stuff like that. The players that we signed men. We signed men. Now, when would you ever hear that as a call at Manchester United? We need to sign men. Like, it's crazy that we even make a statement like that now. The biggest club in the world, and we're looking to sign men. Like, it's just so ordinary. Anyway, let's move on to some of these comments, and I've got a couple of shout outs and stuff like that. Where are we? Dino, this is an interesting one. Dino would sign Romero tomorrow. 100%. What about you boys?
100%.
There's that little bit of grubbiness. So
he is such an exceptional defensively minded player. He just has the brain snap. But when he is switched on, man, he's
He's not going to switch on, though. Look, I agree in regards to his attributes, the way he plays, But we've got that. I don't want to say Laceno Martinez is the same, but we've got that potential Argentinian, which I do think every team needs. I do think you need an Argentinian in there.
Yeah.
But I'll
We've
just
got
kick
the
it
more
on the centre of
sensible.
Martinez. I don't need Romero coming in and getting 3 weeks off every couple of months.
I agree with that, but I think his defensive, the way he interprets the game and sees things, he is so underrated for the. If he didn't have that side to him, he would be in the top 3 centre backs in the world.
Yeah, but
based on,
a decent manager could control that. Do you think?
no, he just has a brain stamp. He's had it for his whole career.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
he's
We've got
so elite.
we've got the more sensible of the 2 Argentine centre backs, haven't we? Really, and he's still not. And he's still capable of a brain snap every now and again.
I think you get frustrated with having him. Like, I would love him because I love the footballer mindset that he has and the way he reads the game, and he can step in and win a ball in any situation. Kind of what like Martinez did against Haaland. Just got in there and won the ball. Romero is so fast at doing that. He beats everyone to the ball first. He's just
I
that
always
step
think
ahead.
one of the great stats, when I remember that you talk about Romero and red cards, one of the great Manchester United stats I always look back at, it always sort of raises a smile, is Juan Mata has more red cards than Marcus Rojo at Manchester United. We think of Rojo as... Rojo never
really?
Never got sent off at United.
I'm telling that to him. I'm saying that to Juan when we see him on the 7th of March.
He should have had about 20 red cards, but he never got sent off.
But it's these stats of Juan that have come out. Like, he's our 4th top goal scorer since Fergie. Like, it's just, he amazes me, that guy. Seriously. I've got it here. Where was this
one?
That's unbelievable. He's got more.
Has anyone noticed Ahmed's form has dropped off under Carrick? Yeah. I would like to see Ahmed come off the bench, to be honest with you. I would like to. I think he's been a little bit more selfish under Carrick. I don't know if you boys agree or not. I think he's lost it a little bit by that combination between Mbumo and what do you call it, Ahmed. That combination was huge for them, and because now they're not on the same side or anything like that, I think Ahmed's lost that bit of.
I think Ahmed should come off the bench. Or Ahmad should come
Guillermo needs to play off the left. I don't think he's played off. Play off the right. I don't think he's played off the right since Carrick has come in.
For me, just quickly on Ahmad, and look, I like it, but it's a discussion we never really have. We have many. He comes up in many discussions, and we talk about him tactically. We talk about okay, should be on the bench, should be on the left, on the right. What's he good at? I'm not saying sell him. In regards to Manchester United going and being great, and Manchester United winning Premier League titles. I like him. I'm not saying sell him. I don't think he's
squad player.
I think he's where we are, 5th, 6th, 7th in the Premier League. I think that's where Ahmad is, and that's good enough for now. Keep it. But I don't think he's the future. Like age-wise, maybe but I think he kind of is what he is.
He's small.
Well, his best attribute is his defensive work rate. By a mile, that is his best attribute. The way he covers and doubles up on a 2v1. Other than that, don't get me wrong, like he's fucking way better than any of us, but he's not elite in any other category other than his defensive work.
I just think in regards to, I'd say, ability-wise, it's more the consistency of his ability. I think he just is what he's going to curl one into the top corner 1 week. Then he's going to have a couple of weeks where you think, oh, okay, maybe he should be on the bench. Okay, give him a start. Now, I just think he is kind of sums up the era that we're in regards to so much hope that we are going to be good, but think we could finish 15th next season with this current group of players. And I think he's just in and around what we currently are. And that's not to say get rid of him or he can't improve and he can't sort of contribute to United. But yeah, I think if United are going to, if we're picking an FA Cup final team tomorrow, we're playing a 4-3-3. Who's playing on the right? Mbumo or Ahmed? I think it's pretty clear it's Mbumo.
Yeah, I agree. And Yoni makes a good point there where he says he's only 23.
Yeah.
He's perfect to learn off Brian Mbumo for the next year and a half. Sit on the bench, come off with him.
We didn't buy him for a whole lot of money either, if we were to sell him.
Well, we bought it from Alan.
But you know what? He's the perfect example of a player that's been out on loan, come back, got tough, and
he went. Do you know why he got tough? He went and played for Sunderland in the Championship, boy.
Exactly, that's
and
right.
He got the shit kicked out of him, and he was so bloody good for him.
And this is what we were talking about the other day, and I haven't seen the guy return since. So it's good. So I just want to give a shout out to Manchester United women as well. They had a huge 2-1 win over London City Lions overnight. They've won now 7 wins in a row in all competitions. So congratulations to them. The other thing is, if anyone doesn't know, well, you wouldn't know. Dex, there's a Legends game, Manchester United Legends versus Celtic Legends, going on in Cork on the 28th of March. And our new member of the Worldwide Reds is Deck, and he's actually playing 15 minutes of this game at the end. He's just messaged me. So good luck to him, and I hope he enjoys it, and I hope it works out well for him. So congratulations to him. And so, yeah, if you're from Ireland and you want to go watch a Manchester United Legends game, who's playing? You've got, where are we? You've got Poborski playing, Lee Martin playing, and Clayton Backmore, and our very own Deck is playing in this game. So, which will be
Joe Ledley playing as well.
Yeah,
played for Palace for a few years in the midfield.
The big Welsh
beautiful.
boy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And to end the pod, Dex had to leave us because he's off to, and I'm not joking here, he's off to the championships of the Irish dancing. And Deck had a few drinks the other day, and I was hoping he was on, but I'm going to show you a few of his moves after having 13 pints of Guinness. And that's the end of Deck. And that's the end of the podcast. I want to thank everyone for coming on. We've had a great time tonight. It was a great subject. United's on, the 22nd? We've still got a few days before they come back. I want to thank everyone on TikTok that's been throwing prizes around and everything like that, doing their thing on TikTok. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you, everyone that's been in the chat with us. The usual, Yoni, Dean. Tom's obviously with us today, and well, I suppose we might have one later on in the week. We might do a collective pod. I tell you what, in saying that, Elliot and I have been going absolutely berserk over the last few days, or probably the last week, sending stuff to his father's place. So in the coming months, when they're back from Old Trafford and stuff like that, we will have a lot to show. So I'm definitely taking advantage of Elliot at the moment, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
To be honest,
you've got the details, John. I'll send them to you. So
I know you're gonna regret that.
Every morning, I'm waking up to this one's going to the old man's place. Oh, yeah, I've got this one going too. Like every morning, at least 2.
I'm trying to keep them all light, which is good. So I'm trying to complete some sets.
It's all good.
And
it's all good.
Yeah, trying to complete some sets, and it does get frustrating at times when you need 6 cards and you can get 5, and you still got to find one. So, and let me tell you, it's the only place to shop is UK eBay. So, all right, boys, we'll talk to you later. See you later.
See.
Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester United. What a time to get it! Oh, well,